One of the things that's going on in the community right now is, how are we evolving? A lot of magical practices are going through this. I know in Bracherij, we're going through this as well. Bracherij is a Pennsylvania Dutch folk magic practice. And it's, how do we honor tradition and stick to tradition and represent tradition so it's maintained into the future, but also honor and respect where the world is now and what it's growing into. So as astrological magic is struggling with this, and struggling more like grappling, I use the word struggle as like the definition of, I'm working with this, I'm actively working with it. We're trying to understand, how close to the recipes do we have to stay? And how can we adapt this? You know, something for Mercury is short distance travel. Well, short distance travel then was like a street over. We have cars, planes, and jets and all these things now. So short distance travel, they would be like, oh, if it takes you a day to get there, you're good. I can get to Europe in a day. That's long distance travel. That's more your other kind of thing. You might associate it to Jupiter or something. It's ninth house typically. But now we have to say, well, the world has advanced in such a way. What defines these things? So archetypally, they may still be the same, but how do modern things fit into these archetypes? My personal approach right now, and it's always open for growth and interpretation and to be added upon. My personal approach currently is, I want to learn the rules and I want to understand them so that I know what does work for sure. And then I'm going to do it my way. Right. So that I know that like it's going to adapt in my personal way. So eventually, when you get a talisman from me, it will come from traditional roots for sure, but I might have found something that works really well. And so I will add that to it. And so my practice in magic is going to be a little bit different than someone else's, but that's kind of how it should be. And, you know, there is something to be said about the idea that these sources are simply all that remains. It doesn't mean that they are all that there is. So there may be another recipe out there for a talisman, but we just don't know what it is because we can't discover it yet. It hasn't been given to us. So it does behoove us to also explore, but you have to be safe with it, because much like if you put too much of a spice or something into a recipe, it'll taste bad and it might give you food poisoning. And so it's the same kind of concept, to just tread carefully. And as you get more and more comfortable, layer in new things.